Gavin, episode 27. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me back, Jesse boy.
Anyways, as I was saying, we were talking about I've been playing around on a on a recording studio garage band, and I was just telling Gavin that I've been fooling around with one beat. So I just figured we'd just con- continue this conversation.
Right on. Yeah. Did you get like a beat from YouTube or what?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. One of those
Hey,
MP3 files, just like YouTube to MP3 or something like
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
remember doing that when I used to burn like CDs for my like onto discs and like for high school in my car.
Yes. I acquired this expensive drum machine soundboard thing,
Hmm.
and I think it's a little bit over my head as far as the complication of it goes. And I've tried watching videos online, and I think I needed to start a little bit lower to get an idea of how to operate the equipment before getting the big equipment.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize sometimes like with the production and like the mixing and mastering with music how like nowadays it's more like technology based, but there's so much that goes into that with so much technology and so much stuff you have to learn to like all the intricate stuff too. It's quite the process.
Yes. Yeah. So I've just been doing that as a hobby for like the last, I want to say 2.5 or 3 weeks. I don't know what has injected me with this craving or this love for music all of a sudden. But I signed up for piano lessons too. I took my first lessons yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, you were saying that. Yeah, you were playing some stuff when we were on FaceTime too.
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
it's
practicing.
invigorating your love for music. I feel like too, when you have a deeper understanding of it, like you probably listen or just like whatever music you like might like listening to, you'll listen to it and have like a deeper appreciation and like understand the layers that might go into like your favorite song, especially like piano. I mean, if you learn piano and like the scales and everything, I think all of their music stems from that.
It does. And my biggest challenge, because I played guitar for a long time, and my biggest challenge was timing.
Hmm.
And I feel like learning piano might work out those kinks that I have when it comes to timing, just understanding the melodies, but using both hand with guitar, you're strum with one hand, and then you I guess push different chords on the other. But with piano, you have to like synchronize, I think, a lot more. So
Yeah,
if I could smooth that out, maybe that'll help with my timing.
yeah, and sometimes with the timing too and the tempo, like having like the metronome, like having that on too, it can kind of help with some of that, whatever tempo you might be trying to be at. But just keep going to those lessons, man. You'll get it.
Yeah, yeah, it's exciting. What's new in your world?
Oh, nothing too much. We were talking about, we're looking at some new apartments and stuff like that. Just, work as per usual. Just trying to, yeah. I mean, it's been kind of rainy today. Last couple of days were hot, typical Minnesota weather, just fluctuating on the day to day.
We had a conversation about that last night when looking at apartments, having pivotal and important questions before moving into a place.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The lady who gave us the tour, yeah, she was really, really nice. But yeah, no, I was definitely drilling her with questions, because of course you got to ask the important questions when you move into a place. You don't want to find this stuff out after the fact.
Exactly, exactly. Let's hear one of the questions.
I asked about, well, first off, because like any like fees, right? Like, because every apartment's a little bit different. Are utilities built in? Like, what fees am I going to see like on my ledger each month? Am I just going to see my rent? Am I going to see like pest control fees? So that was one of them. Soundproofing in between units too. Like, hey, how's this place built? If I'm jamming tunes really loud, is my neighbor going to knock on my wall or something like that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, can we play Mudvayne in this apartment?
Yeah, Mudvayne, Deftones, anything really aggressive and harsh.
Yeah, right, right. So you need good soundproof walls. And did these check all the boxes? Were the boxes
Yeah,
checked?
yes, definitely. This place is really nice. I think it checked all the boxes. It'll just be a matter of, of course, you've seen the place we live at now. Decent
Yeah,
place, nice place, comfortable. But
yeah.
I've lived here now. Oh man, I've lived here for a while now. And when I moved in, I moved into a really small studio apartment because at the time I was broke and working a couple different jobs. And then I moved into a little bit of a bigger place. And sometimes, after a few years, you're just looking for a little bit of a change of pace, reinvigorate some excitement in your life.
Definitely. How long have you been at your place right now?
Mm. So I moved here in what would have been, oh man, yes, September of 2022. And then I moved into this place I have now in last fall.
Okay.
So it hasn't been too long in this
Yeah.
apartment.
Almost 3 years. It's time for a change, right?
I think so. Why not, right? And then, like I said too, it'll be closer to Whole Foods. Get myself well acquainted with all the moms. I mean, we're trying to change up the lifestyle here, Jessica.
I had a friend who challenged me on this, and he says that Trader Joe's is better than Whole Foods as far as moms go.
Well, yeah, everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course, but I haven't been to a trade. There's actually a Trader Joe's right here in Bloomington. I can see it from where I work,
Yeah.
and I never go there.
I have never been there as an adult. Just haven't done it.
No, I feel like it was a place like when I growing up in St. Cloud, they didn't have one, but they have that one in Maple Grove. So sometimes, like if
Mhm.
my mom and I would come down, we'd go there as kind of just like one of the fun activities if we were grabbing lunch down here. They used to sell when my mom and I went to Europe. They had this. It was like called Orangina. It was like a European, like kind of like Fanta in the States, but a lot less sugary and fizzy, and probably less preservatives and every
Yeah.
sweeteners, coloring, all that. And we
Right.
really liked it. And for the longest time, they sold it at Trader Joe's. So every time after that, for the next few years, we'd always pick that up if we'd ever come down here.
Isn't it nice having those what feels like more natural drinks when they taste really good?
Yeah, for sure. And I was just thinking about that too, because I don't know the content creator's name, but he's like a food guy, on like TikTok, Instagram Reels, and all that. And he was comparing actually orange Fanta in the States to like Fanta in Europe. And it was almost like two completely different drinks. One was like a sugary soda, like we're used to here in the States, and one was like he just said it tasted like a slightly fizzy orange juice.
Right. Right. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand or have, I guess, found out how different the food is here compared to what it is over on the other continent. I
Yeah, for
mean,
sure.
like you can't even have Dasani or Aquafina in Europe. It's not allowed.
Really.
Yeah, yeah. It's because they strip all the minerals from the water, and yes, they put minerals back into the water, but it actually dehydrates you rather than hydrates you. So whenever you see purified water at the store, I would avoid it for those reasons.
That's a good point. And I don't drink a lot. I don't like Dasani. I've never liked it because I mean, it just
Metallic,
water doesn't have a taste, right?
right?
Technically, but like it has like almost it feels like there is like like the slightest hint of whatever they got going on in there. And I've never liked Dasani.
What about Propel and like those squeezers?
Well, when I was a kid, yeah, I like the
Yeah.
Gatorade
Hmm.
with like kind of the nipple top on there. Like, oh yeah,
Propel, yeah, the great Propel.
yeah, I remember. Oh, of course, yeah, you love that stuff. I
Oh
mean,
my god,
even
so
into
good.
adulthood, you like that stuff. You're just more hyper aware of like what you're putting in your body. Like, of course, I'll still smash a lot of T-bell and not think about it, but it's got to be not every night. It's got to be more of a special occasion kind of thing.
I had my first meal today.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that you texted that. What'd you eat?
I went to Chipotle and I got steak, chicken, guacamole, pico de gallo.
Just all in a bowl.
Yep. Yep.
No, no rice, no bean.
No, no rice, no bean. Just
Well, and I
because
suppose
I'm not supposed to have grain until tomorrow.
when you break a fast, there's probably specific foods you want to eat so you don't upset your stomach. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I was at hour 51 officially when I ate my meal. And from what I learned online is when you reintroduce foods to your body, keep the carbs out of the food for the first 24 hours only because your body's still in ketosis.
Yeah.
And when you eat, what you want to eat first is protein because you want to feed your muscles first and then stay hydrated. So tomorrow will be bread. I know I'm going to eat like shit this weekend because this weekend is for the boys. And I really needed to just kind of cleanse my body before I go into it. Isn't it funny as we approach our 30s and are in our 30s, we begin thinking like that, like we have to prepare ourselves 5 days before we go have some fun.
Adulting sucks.
Yeah, right. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah, you kind of because like yeah, you think about it like during the week, it's like okay, I'm gonna eat less each day, drink more water because I know on Friday I'm gonna have some drinks and I'm probably gonna eat a bunch of crap food and
Yeah.
yeah, back when you're 18, 19, you just don't care.
No, no, you just keep going.
I could still do that now, even at 27, but now you got to
Yeah.
be okay. Like, I feel like now eating all that food, I'd gain 5 pounds in a week. And then when you're 18, 19, you just shed the weight by it. You fart and you lose the weight.
That's very true. Yeah. I was looking at pictures of myself when I was 18 the other day and I was just thinking, man, was I skinny.
Yeah.
You
I
forget
was
you forget how
probably,
skinny you were.
I was probably 30 or 40 pounds less than I am now. And I'm still not like super, I'm not big, but like, man, I look back and I was like, man, when I was doing, I were used to do landscaping and everything. So you could just eat, 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 and you're burning
Right.
the calories every single day at work.
So I was 191 on Sunday night and today I'm 178.
Jeez. Okay, so the
So,
fast did what it had to. I'm sure.
uh,
I'm sure. Well, you gain like a couple pounds back when you reintroduce all the food, but so what? Probably lose like 10 to 15 pounds. That's solid.
yeah, part of it's inflammation. I also read that I essentially in the 51 hours plus, I went on that 2 mile walk and, I probably did about 500 push-ups also. So I read I burned roughly about 5,500 calories between um, Monday to today. And that equals like 1 pound of fat, which is
Okay.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I can even see it in my face from not eating. Like I from being on camera, and maybe this is just me noticing me, nobody else does, but my face seems just less inflamed.
A little more toned down, less
Yeah,
puffy. That. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Jesse, I think you always look great, man.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, but I do need to have some type of criticism for myself to continue to
And I
try.
think usually everyone's biggest critic will probably be themselves.
Most of the time, right?
But yeah, you gotta yeah, sometimes, honesty is the best policy, especially when you're trying to eat healthier, lose weight, all of that stuff. Sometimes you just gotta be honest with yourself, you're on the path of progression, trying to get better. With your fast, when we had asked you, you said you weren't hungry. Was there ever any points during that fast where you were like, holy crap, I'm like really, really hungry right now? Like in the first 24 hours, hour 36, like what would you say was like your peak hunger or like the hardest part of that?
So I would say to anybody that has never done it before doing like 50 plus hours, do a 24 and do it a few times. I've done this now probably in the last 2 years. I probably have done this at least 15 times, and 10 of the 15 has been 36, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've worked my way up. Uh, I would say that during the fast, especially when the hunger comes, you just have to tell yourself no. And this might be part of my healing with my like addictions that I used to have.
Of course,
What
yeah.
it is, I realized yesterday, and what comes with fasting also comes a ton of mental clarity. And I realized yesterday that I wasn't hungry. I'm habitual. And it's like I just want to put food into my body.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
don't
point.
need the food, but I'm just like I need to put something in my mouth. Nope, that's clip that. um so um but I I had that big realization yesterday, and I wasn't hungry throughout the whole entire process up until I stepped into Chipotle is when I got hungry.
I suppose stepping in there, you smell it a little bit, and then you're anticipating too,
You're
like, hey, it's
anticipating
time.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that'll be something I'll try, like a fast on like a maybe a Monday is a good day to do that. Like just maybe eat like dinner on Sunday, skip Monday, and then maybe try to get through most of Tuesday and eat dinner again. That'd be about 36-ish hours.
And that's a great way to do it. And then comes reintroducing foods, which we kind of already talked about a little bit, but it, you need to introduce proteins and natural fats first before you put carbs back into your body.
That's a
So
good point. Yeah.
um, when you do these fasts, make sure that you do look up like the proper procedure for reintroducing food to your body, because if you don't, all that work you did is for naught.
That's a
when
good,
when
yeah.
the fast ends, it doesn't actually end for another couple days.
And then I assume during the fast, you're probably is your what do you increase your water intake too to maybe try to curb some of the hunger? Because I've heard sometimes too, and I do believe there is truth in this, where sometimes dehydration can come maybe a little bit in the form of hunger. So if you're feeling really hungry, if you slam a couple cups of water, it might kind of curb that a little bit.
That's a great point. And yes, would say half of my water that I drank throughout the fast was infused with pink Himalayan sea salt.
That's the best one. Pink Himalayan salt.
Yeah, and not the pink Himalayan sea salt from Iran or Pakistan. It's actually from the Himalayas. There's a big
The legit
difference.
stuff.
Yeah, because you can get like pink Himalayan sea salt for cheap, and it's not actually sourced properly, and it's not actually Himalayan sea salt. It's just these salt mines in the Middle East that are calling it that.
I feel like that's a lot of what we intake, like food, beverage wise, when you're at the grocery store. I feel like there's just a lot of that going on. Like maybe not necessarily false advertising because a lot of the stuff is regulated, but it might lead you in a certain direction and believe a certain thing, and that might not be true.
Yeah, I just read today that Bill Gates farms now are qualified to be organic food, marked as organic food at the grocery stores. That I read that today.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like when you look at the grocery store, like I'll go to like I do a lot of my shopping at Cub Foods. Sam's Club's a little different. It's just kind of all clumped together, get your stuff in bulk there. But like there's always like a separate section for like regular fruit and vegetables, I guess. But then there's like this separate section where the price is increased and it's organic. And then it makes you think like, well, what constitutes it being called organic? Like, does it actually have better health benefits? I don't know if you know much about that, but like to me, it's like it's a fruit, like a banana is a banana, apple is an apple kind of thing.
Well, it has a lot to do with pesticides for one, um,
Okay, I did. Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah.
which is really important. Two, the the fruit or vegetables that you get that aren't organic are grown. They're modified, so they're grown quicker. They use certain
Okay.
methods that make it so it's mass produced rather than naturally grown.
Okay.
um I was just explaining to my parents about like watermelon seeds. Like you can get seedless watermelon, but it doesn't carry the nutritious value you would think it does, because the seeds are what carry the nutrition.
Hmm.
I don't know the exact concentrate, but what eating one watermelon seed is almost the equivalent of the whole entire nutrition of a watermelon.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and if you think
And a
about
lot of
it, a
people eat
watermelon is in a seed.
watermelon, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are eating seedless watermelon because no one wants to eat the seeds or spit them out.
Yeah, and you were always told don't swallow the seeds. The watermelon tree will grow in your, or a watermelon patch will grow in your stomach, or an apple tree will grow in your stomach. But it turns out the seeds are like the healthiest part.
Don't eat that watermelon seed. Don't swallow it. Don't eat those dandelions.
Don't eat the dandelions. Don't eat the seeds.
Don't eat them.
It always goes back to this, doesn't it?
It out. Well, I mean, it has to. And now that we're on the topic, I am, because we've talked about, and we had there was the discrepancy with the White Castle thing. While we're on the topic of fruit, give me some of, in your opinion, what you think are S tier fruits. It can be for taste, nutrition. Like if you're thinking of
Berries.
your favorite fruits, berries.
Yeah. Any kind of berry, except for blackberry, I'm gonna rank around C just because they get stuck in my teeth and it pisses me off.
Yeah, blueberries I'd put in S tier for
Oh
sure.
yeah. And let's be clear also, when they're at their peak, because sometimes you can get a bad batch.
That's very true. Yeah, you got to check them at the grocery store.
So like when you can get any kind of berry at like its peak ripeness and flavor, that's S tier for me, definitely. I'm not a big melon fan of any sort.
Okay.
Cantaloupe, watermelon, melon, I'm just not a fan of.
All right, that's fair. No watermelon, huh?
I'm not a big watermelon fan. Nope.
All right, that's fair. Even like like when you're grilling out, I feel like there's always like the brats, the baked beans, and then like watermelon always makes an appearance.
Yeah, no. I'm not gonna grab the slice of watermelon. If it was a slice of like pineapple, I'm in.
Okay, pineapple. When we were at Rodizio and they had the grilled pineapple,
Yeah,
that's S tier for sure. That was so good. I
great
honestly
flavor.
like that more than some of the cuts of meat.
Yeah, it had great flavor. It's so
So
sweet
good.
too.
What are your thoughts on nectarines and like peaches or plums?
Yeah. So I'm a I'm a bit of a neat freak in a way, and I dislike how juicy peaches are when I eat them inside. And if they like,
Okay.
you have to grab a plate to make sure it doesn't splash on your table or your floor.
I'm gonna try to eat it over the sink
Eat,
too. So,
eat it over the sink. Yeah, and it's a little sticky, and then you gotta like wash your face and your hands after you eat it.
that's a good point because I have nectarines in my fridge right now, and I like to keep like fruit around, like specifically like easy to consume fruit, like like an apple, banana, like nectarines. I have those. So like if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm just like, okay, I need a snack. I'm not going for like a bag of chips or something. In my bed here, I the other night took a big bite of the nectarine, just or straight onto my sheets.
Yeah, that for that reason, when I see a nectarine in the grocery store, I walk on.
That's fair.
But I do like the flavor of them.
Yeah,
Like
they taste
they
great.
taste good. Yeah, definitely. I like oranges.
Yes.
Okay, S tier right here for me. Grapefruit, and then put you cut it in half, and then you sprinkle some brown sugar on it or cane sugar on it, and then you
Oh,
take a knife and you cut out each one of the triangles, and then you can scoop it like it's out of a bowl.
oh, I've
Oh
never
yeah,
done that before. In
holy crap,
fact,
that
I haven't had grapefruit in so long.
really good for you. Really good
I
for you.
have heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to eat more fruits and veggies. Yeah, maybe maybe get that on the next grocery trip.
Yeah. As far as like vegetables go, they're kind of in my eyes they're a little controversial because there's a whole group of people that say they're really really good for you, and then there's also a group of people that say there's a lot of lectins in vegetables that can kind of tear up your stomach.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, maybe. I
So
mean,
I mean, eat vegetables, yes, but overloading on vegetables isn't the best for your stomach. Is that This is what I've read. I could be incorrect. I'm not a dietitian, but
well, and I'll never have to worry about overloading on vegetables. I mean, that's
me
not a
neither.
problem I have. It's more of the overloading and crushing a bag of Doritos, and that's kind of my issue.
You can get like, I think it's like 5 to 7 grams of protein from broccoli.
Ooh, yeah, broccoli. I know it's good for you. Oh man, I love beef and broccoli.
Yeah, that's a good combination.
So maybe that's the way to try to consume it. But yeah, like raw broccoli, like yeah, no way, no way,
No. Mm-mm.
not a chance.
Yeah, other than that, I would say like my diet when I'm on would consist of, like, if you want to think of meal prep ideas and you really really want to tone down, this is what I do when I'm super locked in. Is I'll take a couple pounds of chicken breasts and maybe like a ribeye, and I'll grill it at the beginning of the week, chop it up, and then separate it, and then I'll dish up. I'll make pico de gallo, with tomatoes, onions, lime, salt, um, and then guacamole, and I'll put them all in locked containers for my lunch every day.
That's
And
smart. I think it makes it easier to stick to a meal plan when you do the meal prep because then you're
yeah,
not having to like go out of your way to cook. You just grab it, nuke it, you're good to go.
yeah, and that has overall contributed a lot to, I would say, the transformation of my body over like the last 4 months for sure. And I've done that for about 50% of the time. I think if I would have really stuck with it throughout the entire time, I would really be seeing a lot more results. But I'm human.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows. It's trial and error. It's never going to be perfect. It's more just like looking at it from like a holistic standpoint or like a top down view and just being like overall, if you're kind of staying on the money week to week, that's the main thing. You're always gonna there's gonna be the days where you go over on your calories or don't eat as healthy as you should, and then you just kind of got to make up for it the next few days.
Right.
Adulting,
That's exactly right.
adulting, baby.
What are your thoughts on GTA 6?
Oh, a long time coming, man. What's funny about that is I never played GTA 5. Like that was the one everyone was, it was the gift that kept on giving, right? People that that came out, 2013. So a little over a
Yeah.
decade now with the heist, the missions. That one I never got into super hard. It was GTA 4 was what really, like, I remember I was, yeah, like in middle school and I was never allowed to play like rated M games. And then when my mom and dad were finally like, whatever, like, you're going to learn all this stuff eventually because this is kind of when social media was starting to become a thing and kids were
Oh,
being introduced to like just more information readily available. I remember one of the first games I picked out was GTA 4 and then the first Black Ops.
yeah.
But I'm very excited for GTA 6. I know it's really hyped up right now. I just hope they don't pull like a Cyberpunk and release it, and it sucks and it takes them a couple years to improve it. I hope it's like a genuinely polished game on its release day.
Yeah, Cyberpunk's release ruined the game for me. Even if it's fixed now, I don't want to play it.
Yeah, I remember buying it closer to when it was released, maybe within the month or two, and that the bugs, the glitches, it was having its issues, and now like everyone's like, oh, it's one of the best games ever, but it's like it's a few years too late. Like I'm not gonna go back and play Cyberpunk now. I mean, not when I got Elden Ring.
I might I might try it again. Not you say it.
Maybe.
I've been looking for something. I'm patiently awaiting NASCAR 25 because uh NASCAR hasn't released a good NASCAR video game in 5 years.
NASCAR, dude. I don't know which one it was that I played, but this was a while ago, probably 10, 15 plus years. It was I think it was Jeff Gordon was on the cover. It might have been like NASCAR '09 or something. I remember playing that a bunch on my 360.
If you're ever bored and have nothing to do, watch some of the video game streamers that do like the career mode for like NASCAR Thunder 2004 and NASCAR and Dirt to Daytona. They were the best video, and these were the games I played in my childhood, and that's why it's nostalgic for me. But they were the best NASCAR video games. They had these career modes, and the career modes were super fascinating. You had your own team. You had to win races, or you make your money, balance your budget, pay your team, upgrade the parts of your car. It was super intricate. Like EA Sports had it figured out, and then after 2006 at EA Sports, it all kind of went downhill, just like with Madden and everything else.
Yeah, that's now.
Because Madden '05 was peak, right?
Ray Lewis, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I remember playing that on my GameCube. That was awesome.
anyways, the big debacle with the NASCAR video games was the Monster Games owned NASCAR up until 2020, which were like NASCAR Heats 1 through 5. They
Hmm.
got bought out. NASCAR Ignition released NASCAR Ignition 21, and it was the biggest flop ever, full of bugs, didn't work right. The AI would constantly spin you out. So NASCAR Ignition was going to release 22, and NASCAR Ignition was such a mess. Their developers were such a mess they couldn't even get 22 released. Period. So then they had to sell it off. So now iRacing bought NASCAR a year and a half ago and has been making the new console game. And what makes it super exciting, I just watched the Ask Me Anything with the top developer yesterday, is they want to mirror NASCAR Thunder 2004 and Dirt to Daytona. So
Okay.
I'm super pumped for this. They don't have a release date yet, but they did say it's just going to be this fall. So that's super highly anticipated for me.
Yeah, that'd be that'd be super cool to check out. Like, I've never been like super into like I guess traditional racing games. Like, I never played like a lot of Need for Speed or Forza, but I did play NASCAR back in the day a little bit, and it was always so much fun.
It gets a bad rap up in Minnesota. It really does, or any of the northern states. Anytime I mention it to anybody in this region, I get a sideways look at me. It's maybe 1 in 5 people I run into is like, oh yeah, I agree. NASCAR is cool. It's super fun. Even if it's just left turns, it's fun. Like
I
if you're
mean,
going
it's cars
180
going
on a
super
track, it's fun.
fast.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like I don't watch a lot of it. I'm not like super in tune with like the who's the best driver, like who's the good teams, like in cars and all of that. But I have no issues with it.
I got takes for days with NASCAR and what the state it's in right now, but um, it it's something I guess I grew up with, and it's nostalgic for me. And
Hmm.
I've always enjoyed it. And my argument is, if you were to hop in one of those cars yourself, for anyone that says it's lame, if you were to hop in one of those cars yourself and go on a track with a few of your friends and race, you think you would be bored?
Oh, not a chance. It's got to be.
Not a chance.
Imagine the adrenaline.
Oh man. Eh,
And
you
like
know,
I know like it's a big deal. Like I know there's these events like where they go race or like a big deal. Like people make a whole weekend. It's like going to a music festival, like the
yeah,
cars, rumbling the stands, everyone's having fun. Like that'd be sick to check out.
yeah, going to like a Talladega or something, and staying the night in the
Oh.
infield. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some crazy parties. It's something I've always wanted to do. It might be something I might have to check off my list here soon.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, especially why not? I mean, life's all, I mean, you only get one life. Might as well take a bunch of vacations, see as much of the world and experience as much of it as you can. Have you traveled a lot internationally?
Just a few times.
I suppose, yeah, when you went on your recent trip. Yeah. Right. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, like experiencing different cultures and all of that too, different parts of the world. I think that's important too, going on a lot of international trips and broadening your horizons a little bit.
Do you know how NASCAR got started?
No, I don't, but it's been around for, I mean, it's been around for like forever, it seems like.
Yeah, so during the Prohibition, they were all bootleggers and they had to outrun the cops, so they tuned up their cars on Daytona Beach. And it eventually turned into all of them racing with each other.
Oh,
And once the liquor became legal again, they started making tracks and racing on it. But that's where it came from, is these
oh,
guys
that's
were all
cool.
souping up their motors, running illegal liquor, across the state and outrunning the cops doing it.
That's a pretty sick start. I mean, everything's got to get its start somewhere, but that's cool.
It's honestly, there's nothing more American than that right there.
It does seem pretty, it is American. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that's what make they're injecting a lot of road courses into NASCAR right now. Like there's 7 road course races throughout the season. There used to only be 2. And the new car that they've just released a couple years ago, due to certain aerodynamic issues and wider tires, passing is like impossible, and all these cars are spec cars now, so like they're all the same engines. The teams, they don't vary as much anymore, so it looks a lot more like F1 than it does NASCAR because there's just so much less passing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's big controversy right now because it's like, nobody was complaining that 36 races of the year, 34 of them are on an oval, because you have different tracks with different banking, some flat, some higher banking, so you still get different styles of racing. But it's kind of like this summer has felt like all road courses, and it's like, as a initial NASCAR fan, I would like just to see a lot more traditional racing again, because that's what kind of separates it from Europe, and that's what makes it American.
Yeah, yeah. Go back to your roots and just, I mean, you got to imagine that's what the fans want too.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty controversial on Twitter, that's for sure. I enjoy following it. Going to your point about going international, have you ever been international?
I have. When I was younger, my mom took me on a trip to Europe, and we went to, yeah, it was like Austria, Germany, England, France. We were in Belgium as well. We didn't get down to like Italy or anything like that, but yeah, I have a cousin who's in the military, and she was stationed over there. She
Mm-hmm.
was in Brussels, Belgium, and yeah, no, I was just a young lad when she took me over there, but like, yeah, we saw the Louvre, like the Eiffel Tower, like Big Ben when we were in London. Yeah, it was a great trip.
That's very cool. How old were you?
I was only like 9 or 10. I was young, but I've always been
Wow.
like a big history buff, and of course, Europe is a little bit more ancient, and there's a lot more history there than in America because we're still, in the grand scheme of things, a younger country. So it was really cool to go over there and like get to actually see in person all the stuff you were learning about like in these history classes. So yeah, that was awesome, especially being at like the Louvre. I probably didn't appreciate it as much as a 9 or 10 year old, but looking back, it was probably one of the best things I've experienced.
I have a similar memory as far as like not enjoying something when you were younger, but thinking back on it, appreciate having a bigger appreciation for it. Something a lot simpler than what you're explaining. But when I was young, my parents, we'd go to North Dakota or South Dakota, actually South Dakota a lot during the summer for like vacations, just
Mm-hmm.
out in the bus. And we would always do like these horseback riding trails in the mountain, like the Badlands type areas, amongst like the rocks and everything like that.
Oh yeah, cool.
And we have a really cool picture of all the 3 of us on the horses overlooking like a Badlands style South Dakota area. And I was just looking at that picture about a year ago, and I was thinking that was actually a super like badass experience, riding those horses through those mountains and shit. And like, it wasn't like the trails were like carved out, like your horse was on the edge of the hill, you know.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah, it
that'd be
it
cool.
was very raw, very raw. And we booked on an Indian reservation, so it's you and maybe like 2 other campers out there, and you're just in the middle of the Badlands. It's actually a super therapeutic experience, because And as a 9 or 10 year old, you don't appreciate it as much, but looking back at it, just being one with nature out in the middle of untouched land is so beautiful.
And you don't get as much of that now, especially like living in the city. I think it's nowadays more important than ever, to maybe do things like that where you do step away. Maybe you do, you don't have your phone with you. You're just out there with a couple, whether it's family, friends, and you're just out there actually experiencing like the land and just each other and having a good time, and maybe stepping away from the hustle of the city and all the electronics that seem to consume our daily lives.
If I didn't have kids, I definitely think I'd be living in a van.
I've been seeing, what's funny? It's funny you bring that up because that got started getting really popular like when I was in high school, and I would see like videos all the time on YouTube of van life, and I still do see it all the time. And I know everything has its ups and downs, but man, does that seem like a lot of like a free way of living? And if
Yeah,
you like
like
sick of
you're
one
not
place,
tied down.
another, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that my kids weigh me down. It's just a different lifestyle, but that that's that's definitely the path I would have taken it had I actually took time in my early 20s to get to know myself.
Yeah, I think it's really important for every young person to take that time. And I think a lot of people get, I mean, and this happened to me, when you're young, you're consumed with like, I mean, at that time it's like I just didn't have the money to like experience a lot of these things that I get to do now, which I'm really happy, that I get to do that now, while I'm still in my 20s. But I think it is tougher sometimes for people when they're younger to, if they want to get to experience like the traveling, doing whatever else, if you don't have any money, it's kind of tough to do some of that.
It does. Yeah, I understand that point also. Like you have to carry a skill along with you, or you would have to have some sort of understanding of, I would say, like premonition of, oh, make a YouTube channel and get paid to do it.
Yeah.
Be one of the first ones to do it and then get paid to do it. That'd be
Yeah,
a
that's a good point.
that'd be a hell of a job. I follow some people that, like their life on YouTube kind of deal, and
Mm-hmm.
some have like 4 million subscribers, and every time they post a video it's like a million views, and it's just money just rolling in for them jumping off cliffs and
Just
going
living
and seeing
life.
African
That's,
tribes, and it's
oh
like,
yeah.
wow. Yeah, it's got to be so exhilarating and so free, such a free feeling.
Yeah, and just getting to actually get to like experience the world. You think about how much this world has to offer, and in a lifetime, you'll never get to experience all of it. You want to experience it as much of it as you can. Speaking of something, have you ever like the Outdoor Boys, that YouTube channel? You ever come across that? It's like the guy, he has like a little son, I think, that goes with him, but he'll just like go on these like excursions in like Alaska and record himself like living off the land, like building these like little huts in the snow and like catching fish and cooking meals. Like it's dude's awesome.
I've never seen that before, but I have a great appreciation for that.
Yeah, he'll go to like sometimes it'll be like in the middle of like an Arctic area. It seems like he just like in the woods wilderness, and this guy is just he's awesome. You can tell he's very well rehearsed and like living off the land and doing all of this because he's could be what is hundreds of miles away from civilization, but like out there actually like surviving. That's a lot of respect for that.
Definitely, definitely. It's a skill set, and I think it might end up being a pretty important one.
I think it's good because nowadays, think about like, and I'm even the same way. Like you're born in a city, you grow up in a city. Like maybe you're familiarized with like, of course, working with your hands, tools, and all that. But it's a completely different ball game if you're out in the middle of the woods. Like, say you just get airdropped in the middle of the woods, like Alaskan wilderness. Are you surviving? I don't think I would.
Not a lot of people would.
No, I don't think so.
All right, so, let's talk about that for a second. All right, so what are you getting dropped in to the middle of the woods with? What are you getting dropped in with, do you think?
Well, and I suppose that can, like, I mean, even something like a knife can totally make or break like what you do. I would say anything you can fit in your pocket. So maybe like
Okay.
some flint and steel, maybe something to start. Well, because of course starting a but that almost seems cheap because like if you can start a fire, I mean that you can cook, you can keep yourself warm. But let's just say, how about nothing? You get dropped with
Okay.
nothing. It's like a plane crash and everything just evaporates. You just fall out, but you survive, and you have the clothes on your back, and that's
And
it.
and you may have some leftover materials from the plane.
Maybe, yeah. And I guess you could fashion your clothes into some stuff too. But then again, too, if it's cold, you want to probably keep your clothes for coverage and warmth.
Yeah. Yeah. I think having an understanding of what the woods would look like to is crucial, because if you find like a little den or something, it could be a fucking bear den.
Yeah, if you
So
see a bear, you're done. Like
I
in
think
that, oh no way.
I think the first thing that you would probably have to do once you are conscious, because I assume there might be a period that you're unconscious, is you have to find a way to make fire.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep yourself warm. Yeah.
So if you were to do that, maybe you would have to understand of how to, do the sticks
Mm-hmm.
to create the fire. So that might be a skill that might be worth learning. So let's say you understand that skill and you get fire. So you don't have any tools. What's next? What's the next thing you do?
Well, I think the next thing, yeah, if you can build the fires, just getting, gathering your bearings as far as like where are you? Like, like are you if you're like truly in the middle of nowhere, it's like, well, I would get like a lay of the land, like, like what's around you and kind of being hyper aware of like, because you brought up a good point. Like if you're near a bear den or anything like that, you're definitely going to want to move your camp somewhere else. But I would say after the fire, your next biggest concern is going to be water. So
Yes.
trying to find a source of water. And then, of course, if you have a fire, that'll help as far as like boiling and trying to purify the water.
But
So for sure,
but
after
what are you
fire,
going to boil it in?
well, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, maybe trying to find some sticks to fashion some sort of cup, or I don't know. And see, this is why I wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
Because how
That's
would you, or maybe trying to find like some sort of natural water stream or something where you can drink it right out of that.
and I know if you are able to get water coming off of a rock, a lot of times the rock coming off of a rock, strip some it'll clean the water in some way, not all the
Mm-hmm.
way, but at least it'll be a little bit better. So in that situation, yes. So you're going to have to drink water from the stream.
Yep.
So the wise thing to do after getting a fire is maybe walk up the stream and see where the stream is coming from.
Yeah, and because usually too, if there is any sort of like camps or some sort of semblance of civilization, it's probably going to be near that stream.
So you can't transport fire, right? How long is the stream? Do you go along the stream first before making the fire, assuming you have the skill of making a fire? Because obviously you're going to want to be close to your water supply.
I would assume, yeah, maybe doing that first because if you have the skill to build a fire, you can kind of do that wherever, as long as
Yeah.
because if you're in the woods, you're going to have plethora of access to wood, sticks, branches, all of that. So maybe trying to find the best place, up the stream, as long as you're close to water. Yeah, that'd probably be a good first step.
And then you have to think about food after you give yourself water. You essentially, especially if you're trained to fast, you probably have about 72 hours of good energy to find a way to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And you also have to think about how you're going to sleep, because you're going to need to get rest. I think first thing you would do after you build the fire, you establish your camp, you probably build your shelter so you have a place to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably do that with different branches or sticks, but you might have to actually make some sort of tool out of a stick, or sharpen it somehow on a rock, or find a rock
Try
that
to
has a
find like
sharp
a
edge.
sharp rock and whittle it into something sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you make your camp, your protection for the night. And then at that point you have to think about, okay, how am I gonna eat? Or do you could I travel out of this wilderness in 72 hours safely, and find some
Yeah,
sort of
you're
safety?
rolling the dice there for sure, because depending on where you're at, you might not be able to. I mean, hopefully the stream has some fish in it, maybe fashion a spear, and you're going to be doing that. And then, of course, too, you're going to be expending extra energy that you probably don't have if you haven't ate, trying to catch these fish, and you might not even be successful doing that.
Right, right. We've seen it on Naked and Afraid. If you see if you see a cabin in the middle of the wilderness off the grid and you're in the wilderness, are you going in that cabin? Are you knocking on that door?
Yeah, I think in that situation, but like, because right now it's really easy for me to say, like, okay, this is like how I don't remember the name of the movie, but it's like a scary movie where these guys are stuck in the wilderness, and it freaked me out when I watched it a couple of years ago. But like, and it started with them going to this cabin. So it's really easy for me to say right here in the comfort of my apartment in the city. No, I wouldn't go into that cabin. But when you're faced with that decision, yeah, I think you have no other choice,
I
go
think
to
I
the
would
cabin
watch. I would watch for a day or two.
just to kind of scope it out,
Yeah.
see if
Yeah.
people are coming and going.
If I'm able to make my fire and have my camp, I'm just gonna, if it's within, let's say, a mile, I'm gonna spend most of my day kind of lurking and watching before I approach the door.
That's fair. Just to
Like a
kind of
croc
scope it out.
like a crocodile. Crocodiles, that's what they do. They like to follow you before they attack. Did you know that?
No, that's another reason I don't want to go to like the going down into like the Everglades, alligators, crocodile. Oh, no way.
Alligators aren't as bad. They still will watch you, but crocodiles, they'll study your whole entire day and they'll know your routine better than you do. And then that's when they know when to strike. Is that incredible?
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, coming. I know there's a lot of smart animals, but they a lot of them don't have like the concept of self awareness, and that seems like something that kind of crosses that threshold. Like because you're basically studying at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So back to the discussion. I think I would watch for a day or two. And if I deem that it would be wise to do it, then I'll do it. But the way I see it is it's survive or die. And you're in a situation where after about 3 or 4 days, if you're able to make fire, you're gonna start to figure some things out,
Mm-hmm.
especially, and you have to have that will and that strength, of course, to get through it, because at that point it is literally do or die. That's why I've kind of pitched the idea to some loved ones in my life that at some point here in the next 5 years I would really like to just essentially raw dog it in the Amazon jungle for about 2 weeks
That would be a good way to learn a lot of things really fast. Because
and
that's a different type of, battle
with a
because
guide, obviously,
of,
but
of course, yeah, because you think like if you're like in like the Alaskan or Arctic wilderness, like that's really cold. You're dealing with a different type of problem. You need fire. Well, you kind of need fire no matter what. Whereas with your in the Amazon, you're going to deal with dehydration a lot quicker. So finding water, which obviously that it'll be there, but then of course, all the other wildlife there that you're going to have to watch out for. I know
right.
there's like poisonous frogs, even snakes, and I just oh man,
Insects,
snakes.
parasites, all
Yeah,
sorts of shit.
all of it that and especially living here in the states, if you grow up in an environment like that, you're going to develop immunity to certain things. There's some things you can't be immune from, like venom or whatever, but
Yeah.
especially living here, those insect bites, I mean, that's going to wear on you a lot quicker than someone who's like native to that land.
Yes. Yeah. Have you ever watched the YouTube channel Fearless and Far?
Mm-mm.
He goes to different African tribes and lives their lives for like weeks on end, and documents it. There's a tribe that eats the honey from these bees, and they literally just go right inside of the beehives and just rip the honey out, just getting stung, and it doesn't affect them whatsoever.
Oh yeah, we're someone like one of us, if like me, you, or I did that, we're done. Like that's that. Like we're gonna need to lay down after that.
That's max pain too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I think I've been stung twice in my life, and
it
it's
hurts.
never enjoyable, and that's just a fucking hornet.
Yeah, and these are, I mean, African wasps or something like that. Like these, they're probably like the size of your
Yeah.
effing like knuckle or something like that.
Right.
Like, no way.
It is kind of crazy, this state, Minnesota, how we really don't have anything dangerous here. We have an occasional tornado somewhere, but natural
There's
disaster wise and insects and bugs, like,
there's not
there's
much
really
here.
nothing here that can kill you.
No, and even still, like especially like in like the central to like southern Minnesota area, like there's nothing. I mean, if you go like way up north Minnesota, like
You bear,
maybe some bears, but like
brown bears, black bears, but not fucking grizzlies.
yeah, and I think people underestimate like because like that thing that was going around social media was like 100 men versus a gorilla. Then I saw like 100 men versus a grizzly bear. It's like people severely underestimate the strength and size of like a because like maybe a Minnesotan, it's like, oh, I've seen a bear before. Yeah, you've seen a black bear that's like
Yeah,
four or
you've
five
never
hundred
seen
pounds.
a grizzly.
Grizzly that's 10, 12 feet tall, weighs a ton. Like that thing will take your head off with the swipe of its paw. And you're not outrunning it either.
Right. And they're not even as big as a polar bear.
Polar bears that don't they say like if it's black, fight back, if it's brown, lay down, if it's white, good night.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
and it makes sense. I saw a video and it kind of pops up every couple of years. It's a guy who I don't know where he's at, but somewhere Arctic, where polar bears are present, and he sets up like this pod where a polar bear walks up to it. He's safe in this like cage pod thing he's in, but like the snout of this bear is like the size of your arm, and that's a small part of its body, and it's like sniffing him, and it's like trying to bite him because it probably smells him and is like, I could eat this thing.
Yeah. Right. And they're so strong too. Like they'll swim across the sea just to get to like the shores of Iceland.
Yeah,
Is which
they're
is just nuts.
they're incredibly agile too. They can swim so fast, like, and they're hunting seals, which are could weigh as much as a human. So like they'd have no problem taking us down.
No, no. Polar bears scare the shit out of me. And like Coca-Cola advertises them like they're your best friend.
Yeah, they're definitely not. I mean, they're and then of course when they're cubs, they're cute. Once they're grown though, like they'll kill you.
We I think it was at the Science Museum when I was young. They had a statue of a stuffed polar bear, standing on
Mhm.
its 2 feet. They're like 10 feet tall.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah. So I don't want to screw with any of that. And again, up here in Minnesota, like you're just gonna see a black bear or a brown bear. It's not
And
gonna
they're
be,
pretty skittish too. From like people have videos. If you just yell at it, they usually run. Whereas like a
yeah.
polar or grizzly bear, those are apex predators. Like I don't know if they're going to be as keen. Like maybe if they can be scared off, of course, if you whatever. But yeah, that's like people who walk around bear country. Yeah, bear spray. Keep that thing on you because you don't want to mess around with that.
Would there we go. Would you rather run into a crocodile, alligator, or a bear?
Okay, the bears automatically. I'm not wanting to run into that. Like a what? Like any kind of bear or like a grizzly bear?
Any kind of bear.
Ooh, well, and it's kind of just like up for odds what kind of bear you run into. Because oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, I'm not picking the bear.
You're gonna
Well, and now
pick
after
the
you said that thing about the crocodile, I don't want to run. I'll probably pick alligator. Don't you have to run like in a zigzag path away from
yeah. Alligators are kind of retarded a little bit. So
them? Yeah, alligator. Just run in a zigzag. Yeah, like of course, if it gets you, you're done. Just run in a zigzag path and just get out of there.
you seen Komodo dragons before?
Yeah,
Yeah. That's the last one I want to run into is a
aren't
Komodo dragon.
aren't they like venomous or something too? Or is that Komodo dragons that are venomous?
No, no, no. But they'll chop your fucking head off like with their jaws because they're so strong. Let's see here quick if I can pull up. Just I'll share my screen for it. Um a, a video of a Komodo dragon eating this deer.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. Deer. There you go.
I didn't because they're not like super big, but they are a predator, right? They're obviously aggressive, but they're not like overly sized, right?
Um, they're good sized. Let's see here. That one's a little bit too aggressive. Let's see this one. There we go. I think this is. No, no. Let's get one more.
Komodo dragons. Where I
Komodo
suppose
dragons usually in like South Asia.
okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Like Asia or like Africa, something like that.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Share here. Okay. Man, look at this thing move. Am I in
It's
the way?
menacing.
Yeah.
Is that a goat?
I don't know what it is, but it's
That thing
big.
needs to run. Yeah, well, game
Look at
over.
that. Look at that tongue on that thing. It's like just nasty. Let's see here. This is the way it moves.
Oh,
I know. Is that just brutal? So anyway,
oh Lord.
I know.
Yeah, I don't want to run into that thing either.
No, no, nobody wants to run into a Komodo dragon. So I think I'm gonna take my chance. I should just eliminate alligators. I'm gonna take between a crocodile, a Komodo dragon, or let's say any kind of bear,
Mm.
because
Yeah, I'm
crocodiles
still,
can run like 40 miles an hour, so you're not outrunning a croc.
uh,
Um,
I mean, in these scenarios, I mean, because if you take the bear, to me, you gotta cross that one off the list right away. Because if it's any sort of like bigger grizzly bear, whatever, like you're not gonna outrun them, they will kill you. So you have no
they'll climb
chance.
trees. Yep.
They can climb fast. They're better than everything at you.
Yep.
Stronger, faster, more agile. So no bear. And now I might take the Komodo dragon on this one. Although I know I'm not going to come out of this maybe in one piece, I do feel like that there's maybe a chance you
There's a
might be
chance.
able to just run as fast as you can and maybe kick it or something like that. And it might just be like, okay, I don't want to exert this much energy for a meal.
Hmm.
Because the crocodile, I mean, yeah, it's just as soon as that thing's on you, it's going to twist and turn and you're dead.
It's over. It's over. Yeah. Uh, this is tough. Let me see if I can find a crocodile hunting video before I make a decision. I'll share it here. Crocodile attack. This is what's so great about the internet. And I guess with a crocodile, you're gonna have to be well, you'd be right on the edge of the water, I suppose. But they're more stock. They stock. They definitely stock. So that's what
And I
makes it
feel like
good.
they'll attack when it's the time is right. So maybe you don't
Areas
have as much
you're
time
not
to.
gonna see it coming. Here we go. All right, duck my head here. I don't know if we want to show it attacking a dog, but here we go. So you're standing on the edge of the shore, just like that.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Well, here's one with a human.
See, like that guy,
That's an
like
alligator.
that's like in a situation like that. If you see that in the water, you start walk.
I
Oh, it's
agree.
not a little baby hippo.
Yeah. Hippos are fucking vicious too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and now that's another animal you wouldn't want to come across.
Crocodile attacks a dog. Yeah. Why is your dog in the water, by the way? Um where there's a crocodile or an alligator. Um I'm gonna take the crocodile. I'm gonna take the crocodile.
Like the croc. All right.
Yeah. I understand that I won't maybe see it coming, but I would maybe lose a leg or a foot with a crocodile because I think I could crawl off once it's chewing on my leg.
Maybe. And maybe if you had some White Castle sliders, you could throw it at it to try to distract it, and maybe it'll eat that instead.
Yeah, I think there's like a 75% chance that would happen where I would have White Castle sliders on me.
Yeah.
Just having a picnic right on the shore where crocodiles hang out
Yeah. With the White Castle, a
with
little
White
Harold
Castle.
Mar action.
Some extra minced onions.
Okay. Well, that is sounding pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome. Well, you got anything to add today?
I don't think so.
All right.
Thank you for having me back on.
Of course. I'm glad that we could kind of work out everything that we worked out today between fasting and animals and uh I'm already forgetting what our topic in the middle was, but it
I
was
think, yeah, we
great.
talked about fasting, some fruits, and then, yeah,
Fruits, yep.
animal attacks.
Fasting, yeah. Awesome.
Only the good stuff here.
Only the good stuff here. We didn't get too conspiracy ridden today. I'm glad we
Well,
could
there's
keep it
there's
light.
always next time. Maybe we can do a deep dive next time.
I've been so deep into this Epstein thing lately, just about what happened. So I haven't really been paying attention to anything else, which is probably what they want.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not like I know about all of that, of course, like anyone
Mhm.
with a phone knows about that, but I'm not like super familiarized with like the intricacies and the details of it. I know there's probably so much more to that story than meets the eye and what the public like me or like what the general public would know. It'd be really interesting to know kind of what goes on behind the scenes and like what's being hidden from us, like especially some like regarding something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. All right, Gavin. Well, again, thank you for coming on, and we'll have you again on soon. If you're still listening, like,
Peace.
subscribe, comment,